Welcome back. Better Than a Let's Play, episode 18. I'm Enigmus, and today the jack-o'-lantern gets a face. You might notice that there's no top to the pumpkin. The idea was to finish the pumpkin around the top and then put a stem on it, like you would normally see with the jack-o'-lantern. By freakish luck, when I finished off recording the previous episode, the top section and the bottom part were really the only things that I had left to do before I could start on the face. And I logged into the game today and decided that I was going to start on the top and got the "You cannot build beyond height 256" message. That's how high up we are on Lol Mountain with the pumpkin on top. I just happened to finish it off on the last episode at height 255. So that's why there's no top. Now I did finish off the bottom, which was, if you were looking very closely, I'd started doing in the last episode. I was starting to just kind of fill it all in, and then I found that it looked very, very flat. It looked like it had been cut off instead of a, rounded sort of thing. So I built out the bottom a little bit just to kind of give it that tapered sort of thing without getting rid of the whole flat thing, because that's the whole idea. Pumpkins on the bottom generally tend to be flat, but they don't just go from, roundish on the sides and then all of a sudden blam, like flat, sharp angle kind of deal. So you can see it looks rounded along the bottom, but it doesn't look, as if it was just a sphere going around. Now I'm using my standard method here when I'm trying to mark something out and get a feel for how it's going to work, and that is I'm using dirt, and you can see the face is going into place. It's pretty much, well, with the exception of the nose, it's already done. To my credit, and I astounded myself on this one, I didn't use any guides or aids of any kind to draw this face. This is all my pristine artwork at play, which you can, the eyebrows are kind of bushy, but overall I was actually really, really happy with the way it decided to turn out on this one, because normally whenever I try something artistic, it prompts me towards things like plots. If that gives you any idea, I tried it my way and realized that I needed help, sort of thing. But this turned out fairly well. Now the whole idea with this face is, obviously, you can do pretty much whatever you want with a pumpkin these days and call it a jack-o'-lantern. You can do like a traditional face. You can do like super elaborate, crazy kind of scenes of whatever you want. Stick a candle in there and call it a jack-o'-lantern, which is kind of nice from the artistic point of view, in the sense of people who are not artists, that we can get away, we can take certain liberties where we don't have to compare ourselves to a rigid standard. We can just say, this is my idea of a jack-o'-lantern, and nobody can say anything to the contrary. That's fantastic. Now, this place, this whole thing, and you'll see it when I start putting in the backdrop, so to speak, is just like swarming with monsters at all times. The area under the pumpkin, as you might expect, with the exception of the spots that I lit for the path coming up the mountain, are just teeming with monsters, because it is pitch black. It is darker than dark underneath the pumpkin right now, and you can see spots underneath where there's a little bit of light around the stairs, and then just dark as hell. Every once in a while you'll see the profile of a monster walk by. Same for inside. You can see monsters walking around inside the pumpkin, and they tend to gang up on you. And it's, again, I've mentioned this before, especially when you're building with the benefit of flight, when you get skeletons that are constantly harassing you, because they can't kill you when you're in power armor, fully kitted out power armor. You'd have to do something really, really dumb for them to be able to kill you. But when you're flying around trying to build things and they keep moving you every time they hit you, that's when it gets kind of annoying, kind of irritating. So that was really the only main issue that I was having as I was building this, was having to stop and account for the skeletons. I actually went from 16 million units of energy on my power suit, convinced that I was so very close to seeing it fully charged for the first time since I made it. And because of the number of skeletons and other monsters I wound up killing, it's down to 13 million. That's right. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically, if you've ever done the whole pumpkin carving thing or even looked closely at a jack-o'-lantern, you know the skin is orange on the outside and the flesh is yellowish on the inside. So when you carve out that pumpkin, you've got sort of a yellow backdrop, especially because the candle is very bright and it sort of makes things lighter than they normally would be. It looks yellow in the background, so I decided to use yellow wool for the backdrop for this particular segment of the shenanigan, because it would look, first of all, a hell of a lot better than just the open pumpkin thing with the giant rock in the middle, in the back. That's not really working for me, but also because it's just gonna kind of give me a little bit of room for what I'm planning next, which you won't see until it's done. Sorry, it's a surprise. It's a Halloween surprise. Now, I skipped ahead. You can see I've got the eyebrows done. We're gonna go back and tweak those later. The eyes and the nose are done. You can see the monsters are just crawling around in the eyes and the nose and on the eyebrows and all. They're such bastards. They are such bastards. And now we're doing the same thing in the mouth, as we build back a little bit, and then we build a wall out of the yellow wool, and then we build basically a roof across the entire top. So most angles that you would look at the pumpkin from, it looks like it's a pretty consistent yellow background. Now, one of the things that I noticed just as I was doing this particular project is the number of monsters running around in quantum armor. Apparently that's like some weird holiday edition from Industrial Craft, just increasing the chances that monsters are going to spawn with armor that never drops, you can never get it from killing the monster. It's just there to irritate the piss out of you. I can't imagine anyone would be afraid of monsters in the armor unless they were in a brand new game and, you know, they had a stone sword and they were, you know, that I could see, but for most other people, it's just a nuisance. And a cheap one at that, because you can't get the damn armor even after you kill the monster. So now that it's night, and we've got the light in there, I'm using the glowstone illuminators, same ones that I used in the tunnel, for the lighting, doing my best to conceal them, but there were certain places where concealing them just wasn't really working out, so you might see one peeking out from time to time, but that's what we're using for the light inside, and I'm so happy with the way that looks. As a face for a pumpkin, for a non-artist in Minecraft, like, come on. I'm proud of myself. You can go ahead and ruin this moment for me by telling me how awful it looks, but I'm still going to be proud of myself. The only thing I have to fix are those damn eyebrows. They're a little too bushy for what we're aiming for. There, we got the slime in the mouth now, flopping around. The nice thing about it, though, is if any of them decide that they want to jump out of the eyes or the nose or the mouth, it's death. They fall so far. You won't even see them hit the ground. They just kind of fall into the fog, and then they're gone, and you know that down on the bottom they're dead. That's basically the way it works. But we narrow out the eyebrows a little bit, and it's done. So keep your eyes out if you're subscribing or you follow me on the Twitters for notification of another short surprise video either tonight or tomorrow. Halloween's around the corner. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.